Hello, it's a star-studded package today, and we're offering you all that we possibly could on this beautiful day. We're set for impact through exciting and engaging conversation with our 4 distinguished guests. You must savor from start to finish this package. I am John Tenaya, and I can't wait to get it all out of my bag.
And I'm Helen. Welcome to a not to be forgetting very soon edition of your family, lifestyle and business program. It's called Today with John and Helen Live. We shall take you from starting your company, the legal implications and pitfalls, to newscasting then and now with the first female newscaster to cast the network news on Nigerian television. Very interesting. And I don't know how many of you have an idea who this might be. You know, they might be guessing right now.
Let's leave them guessing. So the Rotary Club Worldwide is dedicated to improving lives in the community. Today, 2 of the big wigs will be joining us to speak to the topic, polio in Nigeria. Are we still at risk?
All right. Actually, in the studio today, we have 3 Rotary bigwigs.
Yes.
John inclusive, 4.
5.
Wow, 5. Okay. All right. So we are quickly getting to the end of the year, and I guess that you know that too. And in spite of the economic challenge, many people will be looking forward to visiting some holiday resorts here in Nigeria, in the Africa, and around the world. So sights and sounds will also be helpful. Coming, something for you to look out for on the show later on.
Yeah, so once again, welcome on board. It's time to take our first break. We'll make sure you join Helen and I, as well as the entire hardworking team here at PlusTvAfrica, and we'll see you in a bit.
Frankly speaking, you know how much we care about you from this side of the divide. So we'd like to start again by saying, how are you doing? And how are you coping? What adjustments have you been able to make? You know, no doubt this season 2 will pass. That's the consolation. The things are really beautiful, yeah? Very beautiful.
And you know, part of the coping strategy is getting more information and knowledge.
True.
So for successful professional Sir Chinedu Ebo, a corporate lawyer and legal advisor, and then Bimbo Loyede, the trailblazing broadcaster, author, trainer, and more, will be joining us.
All right, and also joining the show today is Dr. Tunji Funsho, who is a consultant physician cardiologist and member of the International Polio Plus Committee. And last but not the least, PSG. What's that?
Past Assistant Governor.
Past Assistant Governor Sadiat Adenike Abdul Aziz. She's MD Farm Fort Network Limited. All of these big wigs, you know, will be giving us all the information that we need on today's package.
Absolutely. And before we get to the conversation proper, Helen, I hear you have some cheering news.
Very cheering news.
That is possible.
Very, very cheering news. The cheering news is that, see, anytime you have a nudge or an instinct to go to the petrol station and fill your tank, if you have the money, even if you don't have, go and borrow and fill. Because you do not know what will happen the next second.
That's cherry.
Saturday after the show here, I was almost branching to buy fuel. I said, later on in the week. And here we are. I can't even go there again. You know? So that's very good news. Eh?
Well, anyway, yeah, that's good news.
Very good news.
We expect more news to come.
That is where we are, and that's the good news, that you really do not know what's going to happen the next second. So just expect anything. Yeah?
Let's get on with this beautiful show. Right?
Please. Alright, so clearly more and more people are venturing into businesses and being their own bosses. Starting your company is at the forefront, and to give us some enlightenment and tips, legal implications and pitfalls, is our first guest as we look at starting up your business.
Yes, and he's a legal practitioner and administrator who was called to the bar in 1987. An experienced public policy advocate, corporate labor and manufacturing expert, past assistant governor and past zonal coordinator, Rotary International District 9110, now 9112. We want to welcome Sir Chinedu Ebo to the show. It's a pleasure to have you here. Chinedu has been a mobile target for so long, but I think I eventually cornered him, and he's here with us.
Thank you so much, John and Helen.
Thank you. And
Great to see Helen in person, actually.
Yes.
oh my goodness, I'm blushing. Seeing you seated there from the beginning of the show, your smile and your personality really, is so heartwarming, and I'm very, very much at home with you.
Yeah.
All right. And as you know, our task with you today is to navigate starting your company, legal implications and pitfalls. And we're glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you.
So glad you're here.
And there's a lot we're going to learn, I can assure you. So let's get on with it. So, do I say such? Chinedu? I'm used to say.
He's a chief too. I thought when I was going through his profile, I saw that.
I'll stick to the PAG.
Okay.
So PAG Chinedu, could you give us an overview of the legal process involved in setting up a company in Nigeria, as basic as it may sound?
Thank you, Helen and John. And just to let everybody know that, it is best to register your business. And there's a law that governs that. It's called the Companies and Allied Matters Act. So we'll be using the word CAMA while we are discussing today. That is the acronym.
Allied Matters Act.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the Company and Allied Matters Act, the one we have is the 2020 Act, established the CAC, the Corporate Affairs Commission, and that is the gatekeeper for the registration of businesses. So the process of registering business, the type of business you can register, how the regulatory environment that businesses strive in is governed and managed by this Corporate Affairs Commission.
Okay.
And so for every person who wants to start business in Nigeria, it's always best to get familiar with the Corporate Affairs Commission. And the Corporate Affairs Commission have made things a lot easier. Most of the application for your incorporations or registration of business is online.
Now online. Okay.
And you can, on your own, actually apply for it. Well, like I always say, don't self-medicate. It's always good to have a lawyer because of the complexities that are so involved in registering businesses. So the process is clear in the law and what CAC mandates are. And there are just key processes that I can easily just outline.
We'll get there later. We'll get there later. So one, it is very important that you register your company when you want to get into business. Secondly, you should get a legal professional to guide you. These are the two, don't self-medicate. These are the two points I got from your response to the first question.
Absolutely.
Now, what are the most common legal pitfalls that entrepreneurs in Nigeria face when they are starting their businesses? Key, maybe 5? You could give us 5?
Okay, we can do 5. Very key ones. First is registration. Not registering their businesses. Helen and John, look, people feel that I can do without it. In fact, they look at registration of business as, an expense we can at least away with for now. And if I have a product or a business I want to do, I can do it. But what registration does for business is that it creates a legal entity for you. Your ability to sue and be sued. The legality of your business bounds on its registration. So, one of the biggest pitfalls actually is not registering your business.
Okay, that's number 1, 2.
The second one is the issue of tax.
Evasion.
Henry, tax is so critical. And most times businesses that do not have the guidance to the tax laws and what is involved in the business you are doing, tend to truly, as a matter of fact, fall out. Because when they are confronted with the reality, when they get in there to do transactions and businesses, they supply something, they say the thing is 200,000, they're expecting 200,000, and they get paid 150. Say, how
come? Okay.
Some withholding taxes may have been done, it's...
So number three?
Number three is what you call the IP, the intellectual property, the knowledge. Sometimes startups actually start with ideas, the things you have, the products, and you immediately, out of the excitement of it, jump into doing. What registration does for you is that it calls your attention when you begin to do your legal audit to the fact that this your smart knowledge needs to be
protected.
Precisely, it needs to be protected. So either as a copyright, a trademark, or as a patent, depending on what actually you are.
So 4.
Yeah. So
and maybe we should stay with the 3. I'm sure we will talk about the 3 others as the conversation progresses.
I have loads of questions.
Yes, sir.
This is getting interesting, really. Because you see, we've taken it so, it's like, is it not just to run my show, run my company? So now, let's know, how important is it to have a business legally registered? You've told us that. And what are some of the other risks? You've talked about protection, and are there any other risks of not an implication?
Registering your company.
Absolutely. Registration is important. There's no other way to put it, because it gives you the legal being. I want to get a little religious. God in his infinite mercies wanted to create man. He just didn't. He made man. He could have associated man in spirit without really creating him. He made an entity that he could deal with. The law recognizes that when you want to start a business, create an entity that people can reference, that people can relate with, that you can have contract with. And if there's a challenge, that can be sued or you can sue.
Okay.
Many times you can do business, and you find out that, the man will even deny you.
So it just gives you that confidence to go all out
to do what you have to do.
Okay.
And you also manages your risks. Registration gives you, and corporate governance. Registration gives you a process of doing things right. When you register, for instance, as a limited liability company, you have board of directors, you have shareholders, and you're expected to call meetings, you're expected to keep records, you're expected to look at your financial documentations, to govern the business in such a way that it will be sustainable.
Orderliness.
Wow. It gives you mileage too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're not restricted in
absolutely.
the scope of your
absolutely. And the data speaks of it.
Wow.
The global startup report, it says that most companies die at age 3 just because they don't get registered.
Wow.
Yeah. So it is critical and important that this registration is done.
I agree with you totally, because by the time you're thinking of this, you're also beginning to think of other people who have more knowledge in this particular area, who you can pull together. You just talked about members of the board now. Awesome. All right, so let's get to the various types of business registrations that are available. Can you explain the differences between the various businesses, the structures that are available, and such as sole proprietorship, partnership, limited liability, and all of that? We hear of these things, we really don't know.
I didn't know you were that. But that is true. The law specified the kind of registrations that can be done. And just for the sake of it, there are 3 recognized platforms for registration, plus, of course, the registration of what we call the NGO registrations, the registering your board of trustees, as a matter of fact. But the law recognizes a sole proprietorship.
Okay.
Now only you follow come. Now one man business.
Is that the family one?
Well, family business is a different ballgame altogether. You know, you could come as any of these arrangements.
Okay.
But it's a topic that is quite interesting, and it's dear to my heart, actually, because I spent some time thinking and working on family businesses.
So
proprietors. Now only you follow come. Yes. The one that is one-man business. He is the champion.
He's the all and all.
He's the all and all. Then we have the partnerships. Okay, and the partnership is always very good for professionals. Lawyers go into partnership, accountants go into partnership. There are other, related areas. And this is when 2 or 3 people enter into an agreement to personally share risk and profit for the company you are trying to put together.
Okay.
And the big one, the one that's
limited liability.
It's a limited liability.
The liability joined together.
And it's varied, whether it's public or private or limited by guarantee, but those are the details of it. But limited liability company, where the company is a separate entity, distinct from its owners.
Can you imagine? I have one, and I don't know what the
is. And that liability is that your risks, whatever that you are doing is limited to the investment which you have clearly stated in your registration documentation, that this is where the limit of my liability lies.
Entirely detached from me.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Wow.
But in everything, each one of them have their advantage and disadvantage. And of course, they have their responsibilities, the things that you ought to do when you have any of those businesses registered in any of those categories.
Okay, so it looks like the higher you go, the hotter it becomes. Because now, we've heard about stuff like corporate governance. For a one-man show, how much of corporate governance? But could you tell us what are the implications of any stages of a company, for instance? Why should we pay attention to corporate governance? And what is corporate governance?
In the first place.
I think that's where we should start.
Yes.
What is corporate governance? Corporate governance is the process of governing your business in the proper way. That's what corporate governance is. It talks about responsibility, transparency. It talks about due process that ought to be followed.
Due process.
Yes. So corporate governance is running a corporate in a good and organized way. Is this a layman's understanding of what corporate? To govern it right.
So
governed by the body of rules and laws and orders.
So size doesn't matter.
Size doesn't matter. So what does matter is your ability to understand that you have responsibility, that you want to be transparent. That you truly want to follow a process of doing things right. Those are and that you have a purpose.
Okay.
And you are person oriented. That is, your customer is important.
Wow.
So it is that responsibility that you have towards your customers, your stakeholders, that makes you employ what we have, the big word, the corporate governance. It's just a process of making sure that truly you live by the process of transparency, clear accountability, fairness, equity, in the things that you do. That's what corporate governance does. And that is what registration does for you. But in registering your business, the law now recognizes what a business is and states down what you need to do and what you ought not to do. And if you follow it, if you understand that you have to keep records because you have to pay tax, if you understand that there is a liability you owe to your customers because you know that there's a commission looking at your back as a registered organization, that you are dealing with your customers' rights.
Even your staff. Dealing with your staff.
And Helen, I must thank you for reminding me this. Most times, people don't pay attention. They just register these businesses and they don't remember that you have to think of the people who are going to work there, because it has to be a contractual relationship. Or then they can shut you down.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it is important.
Say that again.
They can shut you down.
It has to be a contractual relationship. Otherwise,
recognized.
Otherwise, your company can be shut down. So you can't just hire somebody and say, I see that at the end of the month, how much is that your money?
In fact,
there has to be a contract.
All companies supposed to have what we have to call a work rule. When you are coming into an organization, you understand what that organization offers, what your responsibility, what is the responsibility of your employer, in that business. But that is what actually registration does
for you. Okay.
It gives you that organized setup.
All right. So you see, a lot of us run away from lawyers, unless you run into trouble. So what legal protections are available to business owners in cases of intellectual property and theft, for example?
Again, lawyers is a necessary. You need them because of the complexities of life in itself.
I'm telling you.
Every aspect of life is governed by law. Every. So when you have ideas, when you have businesses, you need to protect them. Do you know there are businesses, people have launched businesses, and after the launching, somebody will write them a letter. So that name you are using is not your own.
Even after it has been cleared by the...
No. Because they didn't register.
They didn't register. It's true.
They didn't even go to search.
They didn't even go to search.
They didn't go to search because it's in that process that you know whether it's available or it's not available. Wow.
Absolutely. They didn't go to search.
Okay.
Wow. So it is important that they now truly go for all the necessary registrations and licenses.
Someone called to say this business does not belong to you. This name.
That many times, as a matter of fact, people have launched their products.
Ouch.
And after the launching, somebody writes them to say, that name you are putting there, it's my name.
But you see,
and it's like starting all over.
One of the problems that business owners have is the complexities of all these little.
But that's what he said. That is now seamless. Once you have a lawyer,
you need some knowledge. It is good to have Google. That tells you things. Okay. That's okay. It's good to have knowledge. It's good that we're having programs like this so that we understand what is required of us.
Representation, that's what the legal person does for you.
You need that body of specialized knowledge to guide you through the complexities of business and to make sure at the long run you are better off.
So there's this car sticker that I always see that says, waiting lawyer they do safe.
So now we know, lawyer they do plenty.
Okay, let's quickly, we have just a few minutes. Tax implications.
Yes.
Because that area itself has downed a lot of businesses.
Absolutely.
Could you just in 30 seconds just...
Let's talk tax laws and tax consultants.
Yes.
And when you register your business, these are some of the things that come in play because you are supposed to do returns. And there are always see business formations and registration in 3 areas. You have the pre-registration activities that needs to be done. You have the registration itself, the process, and you have the post. The things that you need to do to actually make sure that your business is sustainable.
Okay.
Your tax is one of them. And the tax law is clear. As cumbersome and as complicated as it is, a good guidance will make things easier for you. Because from the beginning, you will know that that money you use to have pizza, bring everything, in whatever you are doing, is part of the expense that needs to be captured. Records must be kept.
Wow.
Your expenditures must be put in place. And when that is captured, you find out that your annual returns, your returns to the tax authorities are clear. Remember, tax is on profits. So many times, when small businesses and businesses are growing, they don't really make what is required. But if you don't keep your records, they come for you. They look at every inflow as profit because you don't have the records to show which one is profit and which one is their corporate expenditure.
You know what?
There's so much.
I'll stick to my profession. I'm happy where I am. I'll leave on.
But you need the lawyer, even in your profession. That's what you say. I got a company registered as far back as 2016. You talked about the before, the process of registration itself, and after. I haven't had any conversation with the lawyer who helped me do this since 2016. Once we got the documents done, I thought that was it. But you said I'm wrong. There's need for continuous interaction with the legal person who helped you to put this in place, to guide you through the life and the success of your business.
Helen, I don't want to put you into trouble. But the truth is that, you are supposed to be doing annual returns, business or no business. There are certain documentations that you need to find, business or no business.
Please, you didn't say that.
I didn't.
My goodness.
There's a lot more to talk about. And I must confess that this has been interesting and helpful.
Very, very. Absolutely.
And we really want to thank you for this. I wish we had more time. Or maybe we'll just take this as Masterclass 1.
Part 1. We'll do the second part later.
Let's do this again.
Yes. And my appeal is that let the lawyers bring their bill down so that more of us can come here. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so perhaps, like I said, with the introduction of pocket-friendly legal fees, more young people will be able, especially the younger ones who are doing more and more businesses at this point in time. Thank you once again. All right, next, another break is in view, and when we come back, she is a combination of beauty and brains. She's a trailblazer, John. She's a trailblazer and much sought after broadcaster. Make sure that you join us after the break. It's still Today with John and Helen live, and we are on Plus.